What up? It's Brandon here. Welcome to the newly named, now I'm going to say it wrong, Tip Trick series. I'm calling it that because for whatever reason when I say this without thinking, I say it backwards. And yeah, I'm going to roll with it. It's the new name of the series. Anyway, this episode was brought to you by a commenter named Indictus. I want to say that's how you say it. I don't know. This is how Google says it.
Indictus.
Today we're going to be learning one of the coolest tricks ever, the backslide. Not to be confused with the backside. I really hate how rollerblading tricks are named. But anyway, in this video I'm going to explain to you what a backslide is, tell you what obstacle I recommend you learn it on, break the trick down into 6 steps, and end it by telling you the differences between doing this trick on ledge, rail, and coping. To make it a bit easier to rewatch, there will also be a real quick summary at the end of the video, so you don't have to rewatch the whole thing. That'll be at this timestamp and in a pinned comment in the comment section. But let's just jump into it with what is a backslide. A backslide is a somewhat difficult trick. It's basically a 1-foot Royale. You're sliding on your dominant foot in the back on your H block and your backside plate. Both must be touching for it to be a backslide. And if they're both not touching, you're going to have a lot more trouble anyways. And I'm going to recommend you learn this on rail just because you're going to have no wheel bite, and on ledge you're going to have a lot more. And you can save yourself a lot easier on rail compared to any other obstacle. In my opinion anyway, but it's up to you. I'll definitely do it on the obstacle you feel most comfortable with. So now that you know what the backslide is and where you're going to do it, let's jump into the 6 steps to learning it. So before you even think about learning this trick, you need to be really confident at Royales, super confident. And if you need a tutorial for that, I do have one, so check the link in the corner and watch that and come back. I'll be waiting. So the first step, what I want you to do is just do some Royales. Do this essentially to warm up, but really focus on your backside foot, which is your dominant foot, your foot that's in the back of the Royale. Just really feel it out. Feel where your weight is. Really make sure you're getting right on top of your feet and that your feet are lining up with your shoulders and that you aren't hesitating at all on this Royale. It should be super easy for you because the backside is going to be much harder. So I want you to do at least 3 Royales and then move on to step 2, which is doing a Royale and then stepping into a backslide. So what I want you to do is just jump into a Royale, and as you get towards the end of the rail, pick your non-backside foot up and just ride out a backslide and really try find the balance point. This is a really safe way to work out how to balance this trick. Your feet should be directly under your shoulders still. You want to be leaning forward into the obstacle. You can use your lifted up foot to counter over leaning it. Your knees should be slightly bent, of course, just like a Royale. And you should be looking towards the end of the obstacle. That way you always make it to the end of it. You won't struggle to hold any of the tricks. Works for every trick, that trick. So I want you to keep doing this until you can land 3 in a row. Once you've landed 3 in a row, we can move on to step 3, which is just trying to stall the backslide. So now you know the balance point, you know where you need to be leaning and where your shoulders and everything should be for the backside. I want you to try jump and stall in it. Do this 3 times as well. Get real confident on it. Make sure you're not slipping out. And then move on to step 4, which is where we finally get into grinding a backslide. I want you to tap the end of the rail or obstacle. Gradually move it out so you're sliding more of the rail, and use this as a safe time to feel where the balance point in this trick is, because it is quite different once you go from stepping into it from Royale to jumping straight into it like a backslide. I really need you to focus on not stepping into this trick too, because it does not count if you step into it. And by that I mean you have to leave the ground with both feet. You can't pick your backside foot up, put it on the rail, and then pick your other foot up. That doesn't count. So 2-foot jumps, tap the end of the rail, do that 3 times as well, and then we can move on to step 5. Here's where we just go for it. Try backside the entire obstacle. To save yourself some nasty bails, I want you to always be leaning in towards your front foot that's not on the rail. That way if you lean in too far, you can always save yourself with your front foot. This is hard to explain. But if you lean back too much, you're just going to slip out. If you do lean back a lot, grab the rail. And you should already be wearing some kind of safety gear. I would highly recommend wrist guards in this case, because it's going to hurt. So lean into the trick. Make sure you're leaning into the trick. And grab the rail when you can, and use your floating foot to save you if you lean forward too much. To come out of this trick, for most people it feels natural to just come out to fakie. is you kind of naturally turn that way, like with the Royale. You don't need to really jump out of this trick, you just ride to the end and you should naturally turn off at the bottom. But everyone's different, you might feel better coming out forward. I know some weirdos do like coming out forward. So it's up to you, just do whatever feels comfortable. Something will naturally come. You shouldn't be struggling to land this trick, hopefully. Once you've landed 3 in a row, you've pretty much learned the backslide, but not properly, because everyone knows you need to grab a backslide for it to count. Unless it's in a switch up, it's the only time it's okay. So moving on to step 6, this is where we're going to try grab the backslide. Now grabbing it does make this trick a lot harder, so we're going to go back to stalling it. What you want to do is you want to stall a grab backslide 3 times in a row. You're going to find that balance point again. It's going to be slightly different. You want to bring your knee up to your shoulder, so if you're right footed, it's your left knee up to your left shoulder. I find that'll help you a lot with the balance. And you want to really make sure you're still getting over your feet and using all the other steps we've already learned. It should be the same balance point. It's just you've got to counter having your leg a little bit higher now, so you're leaning a little bit more into it. So once you've got 3 of the stalls, go and try tap the end of the rail again, do that 3 times, get the feel of it, and then just go for it again and do a grab backslide across the whole rail, or the whole obstacle. Once you've landed that 3 times in a row, congratulations, you have learnt the backslide. Just as some extra tips, I'm going to explain the difference between doing this on rail, ledge and coping. So on ledge, you're going to need to get a little bit lower on the grind, because on ledge you're going to have a lot more wheel bite, especially if you're riding flat. And if you're doing this flat, props to you, because that's amazing. Exact same steps, you just need to really bend your knees a little bit more. You still got to stay on top of the ledge. As much as you want to lean out, you still got to be on top of it. That's the biggest difference there. And finally, to do the backside on coping, the biggest difference there is you got to lean into the transition. It's just like a rail. You don't have to get as low as on ledge, but you do have to lean back into the transition, otherwise you're not going to land back in the transition. So yeah, it's a little bit different. So now just to summarize learning the backslide. Step 1, you want to warm up by doing 3 Royales. Step 2, you want to get the feel of the backslide by doing a Royale and stepping into a backslide at the end. Landing that 3 times in a row as well. Step 3, you want to stall the backside 3 times in a row. And step 4, you want to tap the end of the rail in a backslide. And step 5, you want to just backslide the rail. And step 6 is you want to do everything again, but now with a grab. And I recommend doing this on rail, but if you're doing it on ledge, you just need to do this all the same steps, but get a little bit lower. And if you're doing it on coping, you just need to lean back into the transition. So congrats, you've learnt the backslide. The cool thing about this trick is not only is it one of the coolest tricks in rollerblading, but it also leads to a few other very cool switch ups. From the backside, you can now do some cool switch ups like the backside to any top side. And that switch up comes quite naturally, so I highly recommend giving that a go. But at the end of that, it's all up to you. We've now got a new trick, you can try whatever you want, have some fun with it. But that's actually it for this tutorial, so I really hope you learnt the backslide today. Let me know what you think of this tutorial format. I really want to know if the summary is worth having in there. Does anyone actually use it? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Huge shout out to my patrons, Deb, Dennis and Jason. Now go out and skate. Peace out guys.